to a special edition of Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not podcast, where we talk to experts out in the world about charitable gifting of real estate, fundraising in general, how nonprofits can really expedite their fundraising through the largest asset class in America, which is real estate. So today we have the Honorable Yvonne Gamble with us, and she has just a plethora of knowledge in this field. Yvonne, would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about what do you know about gifts of real estate and how this can help nonprofits and donors?
Okay, yes, thank you so much, Cammie. I'm for having me on the podcast. And yes, just to a little bit about what we do. We're venture capitalists, and we actually do fundraising, and we do the part of fundraising where we find it to be very exciting. Now, with the real estate side of it, what we want our listeners and what we want you to really understand is that real estate is always hot. Why? Because think of it in these terms. Think of it as land, not just simply the building, but the land. He who is the landowner, he has the greatest rights at all times, no matter what the situation is. I was just on a call with one of the programs we have, which is the EB5 program. And I bring that up for this reason. You have people who want to come from one country into another country. And so those countries set aside different programs that they create to allow them to be able to do that. This particular offering that is coming from Cammie, from her group, it does that same thing, and it helps all the way down to the level of nonprofits. Whereas someone like myself, ours would be for profit. So you can see, but both of them are based in real estate. Why? Because real estate is the tangible asset. Get that in your spirit. It is that tangible asset. It is that which will be here. It was here when we got here, and it'll be here when we're gone. It's going to always be here. And so therefore, just as, we think of in terms of buildings or structures that have been here to the test of time, we look at pyramids, and now we're finding pyramids all over the entire world. Real estate. That's what it is. It's real estate. And if someone who owns that has a value to it. And that value does not depreciate. That's the beauty of real estate. The value does not depreciate, even if the house or the structure is torn down or is sold. That value still goes along with whatever the value of that area is at that time. So it is an asset that is always appreciating in value.
I love that you said real estate is always hot, because when I wrote the book last year, when real estate was hot, and sometimes it doesn't seem to be, but what we're saying is it doesn't matter what market, what city or state, what country, or what year it is. To your point, real estate will always be hot. And for us, when we're helping these nonprofits to fundraise this way, it's always a better way to fundraise from the perspective that as a nation, only 3% of our wealth is held in cash, but 43% of our wealth is held in real estate. So when we can help the philanthropic folks give smarter from their wealth bucket of real estate as opposed to their cash change in their pocket, it's just a whole different ballgame. Can you speak on that? Why would a donor want to donate this really appreciated asset to a nonprofit?
The reason being is this: what you cannot do is in any society, in order, there always has to be a balance. There has to be a plus and minus, and then there has to be the scale of balance. So a philanthropic person, yes, they have amassed they have amassed great sums of cash, and they have amassed great sums of assets, which is in real estate, that tangible. What happens is, in order to balance that out, you can't just have, I have. You've got to give some of that away so that you can balance it out. If you sell it, on the one hand, someone said, oh, why wouldn't you just simply sell it? Well, if you sell it, guess what you do? You get income. you still you haven't done what you were trying to do. And that was, you have not balanced your portfolio because you just received an income for that. And if that real estate has appreciated very highly in value, now you probably have more income than you would just simply having the assets sitting there. So now you're in a worse financial position. So this is the reason why, yes, all your philanthropic people, all your people out there want to take and put that into something where they get value. See, that's what you have to understand. When you're giving that, they're not just simply giving that away, they are receiving a value for that. So if I give you an asset of mine that's worth $10 million, I'm getting a $10 million at value because I've done the humanitarian thing, I have balanced my books, and I have helped my society. So therefore, I get a threefold value, which is literally, that's more than what the value of the actual cash dollar, but because it helps. Because what happens is when you help these philanthropic organizations, that helps generations to come, just as with United Way. If all of us, I know one thing that, and for the lack of maybe dating ourselves, but we can all remember Trick or Treat for UNICEF. Okay. And so you went around. And so when you think about it, if you had given a cash donation to that or to one of the telethons, now those are years ago, they don't have those anymore, but they don't have them in that way. They do it online now. But the money you gave, look at what it has done. Look at what Danny Thomas did with the hospitals, and how that continues on and on and on. And now even beyond the time that that person, has passed on, those different types of organizations that they put together will still go on. And that's why it is we need to have people coming to the forefront and asking for this. And I love what you're doing, Cammie, and that is educating the general population, and especially the business owners, to say, these people, they need you. It's not just simply because you need money for your business, they need you to balance their books.
Amen. And we call them legacy listings, because when the donor is donating the real estate, it gives the nonprofit legacy, it gives the donor legacy, it gives the real estate agents and the financial advisors and all of us that are helping people learn about it, gives us a way to leave legacy. And I love that you mentioned, if you were to donate a $10 million piece of property, in our charitable real estate masterclass, we show an example of a $4.5 million piece of property. If it's sold, and then after the $900,000 of capital gains, et cetera, is paid, and what's left for the nonprofit world, versus if it's actually donated the full amount. And we call it charitable leverage, how that $10 million piece of property can actually be worth 13, 14, 15 million dollars because of the tax benefit, et cetera. Can you speak on charitable leverage?
Yes. When I served on the board of our organization called Charitable Giving, and we were the fiduciaries for many organizations here throughout the Southeast. And what we would do is exactly what you said, the charity leveraging, where we would actually take a piece of property, and instead of having the person to simply sell it and then all the taxes and all that they'd have to pay, and you come out with less, we'd have them to actually leverage that property by giving it to someone. Because see, when you give it or you gift it at 100%. If you sell it to someone, now you have to pay a capital gains tax on it. You have to pay an income tax on it. The capital gains would be the difference between what you originally paid for it and what it's worth now. If you held it for 20, 30, 40 years, oh my God, you could have bought it at let's say 2 million, and now it's worth 10 million. That's an $8 million capital gain that you're paying tax on, plus the income that you received off of that. So you're literally being double taxed. And so that's why when we talk about leveraging, people might look at that, that's not right, that's not savory. No, what that is smart. You don't want, unless you just like to be paying double taxes on your money, on your gains, or what have you. And then when you think about it, it is not smart to do it that way. The smarter way is to take and put that money into some type of charitable entity, so that you actually get the full 100% value of that property.
Yes, and when you talk about um, being able to advise the wealthy, advise the high net worth, advise people that have multiple properties, because instead of just for us, we teach realtors, financial advisors, all these different folks about this, but imagine a real estate agent or a realtor or a broker, these different words that they are called, but they can be elevated to the advisor of the wealthy, the advisor of the philanthropic, to help them understand how to give smarter. Those are some of the words that we use too, giving smarter. So your time is valuable. We want to wrap this up. You've been very, very helpful in helping us to understand a deeper level of this. We at the Real Agents of Change want the philanthropic people out there to know you can donate the full value of the property. You can only donate the amount that you can write off and pull cash out of the property. You as a nonprofit can take possession of the property, or if that just scares you to death, because a lot of nonprofits wouldn't even know what to do with it. So we want them to know that we can also facilitate and pull the equity out for you and just grant you the equity. So are there any last thoughts you might want to give on what we're talking about today?
Yes. The last thoughts are this. For those people who are new, the people are in a buying frenzy right now, believe it or not, of real estate. And that is wonderful. And you really need to get this book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, and attend this masterclass that Cammie Baker, that they provide. And the reason I say that is because you're new in this industry. And what you don't want, and what you want to do is this: you want to make certain that you're building a portfolio with a purpose. So you will hold that real estate for a while. You will do whatever you want to do, Airbnb, leverage it or what have you. You do those types of things, but this should also be a part of your plan, your 10-year, 20-year, 30-year plan for that real estate. And you can already set that up with them, that this is what you want that property to do. And then it's not something that you're kind of scrambling for at that time to do it, and you're not sure of it. But this way, I'm always a proponent of this. I want to have everything that I need before I go. I don't want to get in the car, start driving down the highway and realize the gas line is, when I get that little signal, I'm on E. I want to get my gas before I go.
Yes, you need to have all the knowledge. And that's why we spend about 90% of our time educating, informing, and we call it giving the donor choice. Yes. You can choose to give cash. You can choose to give from your wealth bucket. And you as a nonprofit can choose to, right next to that donate button where people click and they put in their Visa or MasterCard, and 3 days later, you get 97% of their donation. It's called credit card processing, and every nonprofit has it. All we're saying is, you know what? You could put another button right next to it that says donate real estate, and we can process that for you. We can help you with that. There's no risk and no money out of pocket for any nonprofit, any of the 1.5 million nonprofits in this country and others around the world, to learn how this works. So thank you so much, Yvonne, for spending this time with us and giving us a little bit of your brilliance. I look forward to meeting you while we're out on the road and meeting with people. And please feel free to, share this video with the nonprofits that come to you for funding, and any of the high net worth individuals that are considering their purposeful property and what they're going to do with it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Cammie.
All right, friends, that's it. Another episode of Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. We are not suggesting that you stop your fundraisers. We love that we do the bake sales and the barbecues and the ballroom functions and the car shows and the golf tournaments. All we're saying is add a little bit of language that you can benefit from real estate, because when you do, you can 6 times your endowments through the 43% of wealth in this country held in real estate. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.